One of the other issues that is not on here, but that I will use as my signature issue since states' rights was already listed, is the Second Amendment. For how many in the room today is the Second Amendment, do you believe the Second Amendment is a God-given right? Okay, most of the men in the room, and I think pretty much most of the women as well. The Second Amendment did not give you the right to keep and bear arms. God gave you the right to keep and bear arms in the defense of your life, liberty, property, and your family. And so that right is a God-given right. But I think several years ago, many of us in the room heard the horror stories coming out of the Hurricane Katrina crisis, where there were literally FEMA and other federal agents going around trying to confiscate the weapons of law-abiding citizens during that disaster area. Now let me just tell you, here's what any states' rights governor should have said, and this is what Ray McBerry has already gone on record with Fox 5 News in Atlanta as saying months ago. When I take office, one of the first things I will do will be to put Washington on notice that the first time any federal agent tries to disarm one law-abiding citizen in my state, that federal agent's going to find himself sitting in a Georgia jail waiting for somebody to come bail him out. Now, folks, I'm here today with a number of my opponents in the race, two of them and a representative of another race. But I want you to know that I've made that same promise I just made to you for the last 7 months, every single time we've spoken across this state. In many instances, when my opponents running against me in the governor's race were there on the platform with me. To this day, I'm the only candidate who's been willing to make the promise that I just made to you. All of my opponents in the race say they're pro-Second Amendment. Folks, they're Republicans. What are they going to say? But they're here today, so I hope you ask them the question. Will they join with me in making that promise to you that no matter where those attacks upon your Second Amendment rights come from, even if they come from out-of-control federal agents, will they arrest those federal agents and still defend your liberties? I hope you put them on the hot seat today and ask them that question if they tell you that they're pro-Second Amendment. Because let me tell you, folks, the day is coming when the enemies of your liberty are coming for your firearms. And I can tell you today, I don't know the day or the hour when it's coming. It might be next week, next year, 2 years, or 4 years from now. I don't know when. But you can mark it down in any free republic in the history of the world. The enemies of our liberties have always come for our firearms, and they're coming for yours. Your best defense is to have a governor who not only says he believes in the Second Amendment and states' rights, but someone who's willing to put himself personally on the line as your front line of defense when those attacks come from wherever they come. Because I can tell you, if you don't elect me to be your next governor, I've already made up my mind what's going to happen when they come to the door for my firearms. But I'll also tell you this. I'd much rather have a governor standing on the front line in defense of those liberties, willing to put himself and every resource that the state has on the line in defense of my family's liberties, rather than to have to meet the enemy at the door of my home with my family staying behind me. We're all going to have to make that decision. On the issue of life, I want you to know I will be the most aggressive pro-life candidate in this race for governor. My campaign manager is the National Director for Pro-Life Unity, one of the largest pro-life organizations in America. It's no accident that I chose her to be my campaign manager. And from day one of this campaign, back in January, we have made it public, a matter of public record, that my position on the life issue is that when I take office as governor, I will use the existing laws that are already on the books, and I'll begin to revoke the waivers that have been given to abortion mills all across this state that are operating today on waivers that have been given to them by the state of Georgia so that they don't even have to comply with all the ambulatory surgical regulations that other medical clinics have to comply with. And I will immediately begin to shut the doors of abortion mills across this state while I work with the pro-life leadership in both the House and the Senate to pass legislation that more closely reflects the belief of most Georgians, that life and liberty begin at the moment of conception. I better look and see what your other topics are. The area of education. I believe completely that education is a matter that should be conducted at the local level. As a former educator for 10 years, I taught at both the high school and the college level here in Georgia. I'm a former history teacher. And I can tell you that when I was teaching and now as a daddy myself, I understand that the people best able to make the decisions that are right for education are the parents and the teachers and the principal in every local schoolroom. It's not someone in Atlanta and it's not someone in Washington. I am in favor of competition. I think that the school voucher bill is a good start, but it ought to include anyone to any type of public or private school. It should include homeschooling as an option. And a better way to go than vouchers would be tax credits, because then you can include homeschoolers. And then you don't have government strings attached like you do with the voucher system. Vouchers is a step in the right direction. It's not where we need to be, but it's getting there, and I think that's what we need to do. Competition is good for all of us in every area of life. So in education, I support local control, and I support more competition. By the way, I also think we've done a great injustice to our young people for the last generation in Georgia by telling them that in order to be successful, they must be a graduate of a 4-year liberal arts school of college. I think we need to start sending our young people who have a gift and aptitude and a desire for vocational training. We ought to begin re-emphasizing vocational training. I think of all the mills that have been shut down in South Georgia over the last 5 to 10 years, and I think how many of them would still be open today if we had put an emphasis on industry here in Georgia. I think that's one of the things that we can do, is to refocus that emphasis on vocational training here in the state. And doing away with the property tax and the state income tax will make the state of Georgia absolutely a place that businesses and families want to move to do their business. And so as I close with my remarks to you, let me just say this. The truth of the matter is, folks, we live, I think, at the most crucial hour of Georgia history. We live at the most crucial hour of American history, of our lifetime, certainly. And I do believe that the vote you cast for your next governor will be the most important vote you cast in your lifetime. I want you to know that every one of the candidates represented on the stage up here with me are all good people. We've gotten to know each other pretty well. As far as I know, every one of them is a good person. But being a good person isn't going to be enough to get the job done in securing your liberties. I'm a traditional conservative. I'm a Christian. I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a business owner. And I'm a daddy. I'm just like you sitting out there in the audience. I'm the only one of the 7 Republicans in the race for governor who's not already an elected official. When we decided that I was going to run, my campaign manager and I decided that the first thing we had to do was demonstrate that we could put together a statewide organization before we started asking anyone to contribute financially to this campaign. I want you to know that in fewer than 4 months' time, we already had put together the largest campaign organization in this governor's race today. And today we have more than 300 coordinators across the state and more than 1,200 volunteers on the ground today actively working in this campaign for Ray McBerry for governor. Now, folks, there's a reason that the only candidate running for governor who's not an elected official has the largest campaign organization in this governor's race. It's because I'm one of you. I'm a states' rights Republican. I understand what the issues are, and I understand what it's going to take to get back our liberties. So if you're looking for a candidate who's going to be strong on principle, articulate on the issues, and have the willingness to stand toe-to-toe and nose-to-nose with Washington and say, get the heck out of our business and leave my people alone, there's only going to be one candidate on the ballot for you, and that's Ray McBerry. Thank you, and God bless you.